Hello and welcome to Fresh and Foraged. I'm Carolyn Dugas, and today we'll be foraging for some pine needles to make some delicious forest-scented sugar cookies. These cookies are naturally green from all the ground-up pine needles in them, and they highlight the oft-forgotten citrusy flavor of pine. I'll be covering identification tips for the eastern white pine and the Virginia pine in my next video, as well as some tips on how to harvest them for the optimum flavor. So with that in mind, let's head on over to the kitchen and get baking. Before we start baking, make sure you subscribe or follow Fresh and Foraged if you like the content we're creating, and make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy this video. And don't forget that when you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get my free 3-page guide to my top foraging resources and tools. Just head on over to freshandforaged.com to sign up. Alrighty, let's get baking. We're gonna start off by turning our freshly snipped pine branches into an electric green pine powder! This stuff is fabulous. It'll make you feel like there's a forest in your kitchen. Let's start by stripping the pine needles off of the branch. I like to grab the end of the branch and then pull the needles backwards so they pop off one by one. If you've ever stripped a branch of rosemary, it's the same principle. Then we're going to give them a little snipperoo into roughly 1-inch pieces, just small enough so that we can fit them in the spice grinder. And into the spice grinder they go! Pulse them until they form a fine powder. No need to sift or anything, just get them as fine as you can, and if you see any big pieces of pine needle, be sure to pull them out. Now it's time to make that cookie dough! In the bowl of a stand mixer, toss in 1½ cups of sugar, that 1/3 cup of pine needle powder, and 1 teaspoon of lime zest, and rub it between your fingers until the sugar feels like wet sand and it's a vibrant green. Set this aside to infuse while you mix together the dry ingredients. In a medium bowl, give a little whisk to 2 3/4 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Once everything's evenly distributed, you can just set that to the side. And now we're back to the stand mixer, and we're going to slap on the paddle attachment and toss in 2 sticks of softened butter, 1/2 teaspoon of fine sea salt, and let that mix on medium speed for about 2 minutes, then scrape down any adventurous chunks that have climbed up the side of the bowl. Toss in an egg and 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed lime juice, continuing to mix on medium speed until well combined. Give a little scrape once more, then add in half of the dry ingredients and mix on the lowest speed until just combined. Add the rest of the flour and keep mixing on low until the dough has come together. Now, we're going to prepare a festive coating for these pine cookies. If you're feeling up to the task, you can add 2 teaspoons of pine needle powder to the 1/2 cup of sugar to roll the cookies in. If not, plain sugar is fine. Then we're going to grab about 1 tablespoon's worth of dough, roll it in your palms to form a little cookie sphere, and plop that cookie sphere in the sugar and roll it around with your fingers until it's well coated. Place these cookies about 2 inches apart on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper or silicone baking mat. Either works. And pop them into the oven for 8 to 10 minutes at 350 degrees. You'll know they're done when they're lightly golden around the edges and nice and crackly on top. Thanks for tuning in, and let us know down in the comments what you think of these kooky pine needle cookies. I hope you like them! 2 weeks from now, we'll be delving into all the details of a pine tree identification for those who would like to know, so make sure you come on back and take a peek. We'll see you then. Happy foraging!